Hi, this is Altilt. This is the new character showcase video for the most recent community pick in Pokemon Close Combat, Slither Wing. Keep in mind that this video is a showcase of a character that's in development, and on top of that, had to be made early enough to release the video that the day that you're seeing it uploaded. A number of things in this video are going to be incomplete, unfinished, or generally subject to change. This includes visual effects, animation, sound effects, frame data, all that stuff. With that out of the way, let's talk about the character. We're first going to go over Slither Wing piece by piece, building up to discussing its playstyle later in the video. Let's start with movement. Slither has a relatively low walking speed, a somewhat heavy feeling jump, and a long committal forward dash, along with a pretty slow back dash. He also has this crawl, which actually moves a bit faster than his forward walk. Next, let's talk about its standard attacks. Neutral attack is a quick slice with Slither's mandible. It has a large amount of reach and is cancelable on hit. It can be cancelled via special, a C cancel, as well as the next move we'll talk about, his forward attack. This is a gigantic forward lunging kick that deals a large amount of damage. It is a long range attack that acts as a good finisher in most scenarios. In addition, the move is armored during the forward movement and can also be C cancelled. Next up is your down attack. It's a multi-hitting crawl forward. This is your low startup normal and has incredible forward movement. It's also special cancelable on hit, so it's your primary way to start combo strings. Your backwards attack is your anti-air, a gigantic slice with your wings. This can even hit on the ground and has some pretty good grounded range too. It's also special cancelable on hit, as well as cancelable into your forward attack, just like your neutral attack is. So it's a pretty easy way to confirm off of anti-airs. Your jumping attack is a spinning tail swipe that hits in a large arc around you as the animation continues. This is your primary jump-in option and is a good way to start combos. Slither Wing's alternate jumping attack is performed by holding down. It's a dive to the ground that knocks your opponent down. If it lands next to your opponent, it creates a small quake that hits low instead. I suppose this type of move is the past Paradox special at this point. Now we can move on to specials. First up is his neutral special, Dormant Flame. This creates a lingering fireball that will deal damage to an opponent if they touch it. If you're close to the opponent, you'll connect a 3-hit fireball instead. You have a large advantage window after this, allowing you to go for a combo. Dormant Flame has 2 extensions, each that cost 1 meter to use. Trailblazer can be done by pressing forward and B again after using the move. This makes Slither Wing flap its wings forward, causing the fireball to travel forward. This forward traveling fireball has 3 additional hits, giving you time to follow it up with even more damaging combos than Dormant Flame. The second extension is Pyrosynthesis, done by pressing back and B after using the move. This makes Slither Wing pull the flames back in, damaging opponents that get pulled into it as well. This move also activates an install, which grants increased walk speed, forward dash speed, and reduced forward dash recovery. It also enhances the power of 2 of your moves, the first being it increasing the damage output of Dormant Flame by 2 while the install is active. We'll go over the second boost in just a moment. Your down special is Sunspot, a relatively fast to activate move that creates a large ball of fire directly around Slither Wing. Despite the large size, it has a relatively low range, requiring you to be next to your opponent to connect. Sunspot can also be extended into Eruption by pressing up and B after using it. Eruption is a massive blast of fire, taking up a huge column of the screen. Be careful against it even on the ground, because the fiery indraft can pull you into this move. This is where we see our second special buff from Pyrosynthesis. Now if we use Eruption while Pyrosynthesis is active, it will deal additional hits, allowing us to follow up the move with further combos. Next up is a fairly unique one, Silk Shot. This is a fast-traveling projectile that tangles your opponent into a cocoon, allowing you to follow up the hit with a combo even from a large distance. Of course, you can simply block or parry this like any other projectile. Finally, the last standard special is your air special, Wing Beat. This allows Slither to flap his wings to get some airtime. He's not much of a flyer, so it feels a bit more like Slither is trying to throw itself in the direction that it's attempting to go. This is an omnidirectional air dash, meaning you'll be able to go in the direction you are holding when Slither beats its wings. Wing Beat can be cancelled out of your standard jumping attack and into your other jumping attacks, but you can only use one Wing Beat per airtime. The first of Slither Wing's hypers we're going to talk about is Magma Mortar, done with Down Down. This is an invincible version of Eruption. This creates a gigantic hitbox while invincible relatively quickly, so your opponents will have to be mindful of it while you have meter. The second of Slither Wing's 1 meter moves is Proto Flare, done via half circle back. This is an interesting utility move that creates a gigantic sun above you, and then that sun fires off 3 projectiles after a delay. You can use the space that these projectiles create as a means to cover an approach against an opponent. And finally, Heat Wave, a 3-bar super that can deal devastating amounts of damage even at full screen. Input this with half circle forward. The super thrives both as a whiff punish and a combo finisher, making Slither quite scary to be facing down with 3 meter. Alright, that's all from me, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the video. I'll be handing things off to our special guest, Chunk Brixen.
Hey, thanks all. It was my absolute pleasure to join in as a guest designer for Slither Wing. Working alongside Alt's 2DFM wizardry and Ivan's insane art turnaround, I think we really got to a character that adds a unique flair to the roster. Slither Wing was built from the ground up to be a slow-paced, lumbering zoner in neutral, whose pressure in the corner becomes overwhelming. Any meter Slither Wing manages to stalk can instantly turn this mid-screen dynamic on its head though, as Predator quickly becomes prey. The Bug Behemoth has a game plan that's silky smooth. Use Silk Shot to condition your opponent to not overcommit lest they eat a combo from anywhere on screen, and then use their hesitancy to set up advantageous scenarios for yourself, like getting Dormant Flame up. Slither Wing's anti-airs are top class for punishing someone trying to jump over your projectiles, with Sunspot hitting behind them and Back A reaching far in front. Their throw and forward A are built with the purpose of getting the opponent cornered in mind, while Trailblazer and Proto Flare help Slither Wing skip the boring part and get to the pressure in exchange for some cash. Once you're in, use Dormant Flame to devastate your opponent's guard bar and their will to live. Make sure to utilize the late cancel available on Sweep and forward A to keep the pressure up after a knockdown. And if your opponent develops the willpower to block on Wake Up and dares to still play the video game, use delayed cancels into Sunspot and Silk Shot to frame trap and make that mistake a miracle for you. When you inevitably build some meter off of that pressure, Slither Wing has so many good options on how to spend it, with C cancel on forward A getting you in with armor, following up on Dormant Flame by feeding the flame or letting the flame feed you, Proto Flare letting you continue pressure from any position, and to make your meter spending decision even harder, they have an absolutely devastating full screen level 3 super in Heat Wave that can lead to some of the highest damage combos in the game. I'm really excited for the community to get their hands on Slither Wing, and the patch that comes with them. It comes packaged with game-changing quality of life features, maybe one of the best balance patches for the game yet, and although I've grown to love this monstrous moth as my sweet little child, I think Character 15 is really going to turn some heads. And functions as like a thinly veiled cry for help from these devs. They must like feed off each other. This is unhealthy. Keep an eye out over the next week or two, close combatants. Thank you so much to Alt and Ivan, thank you to the community for voting correctly, and thank you all for watching.